Hey everybody, it's Dana and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be making a fall card and I'm going to be using Concord and Ninth triple step autumn leaf stamp set. Whew, that's a mouthful. I'm going to be using this stamp set. As soon as I saw it, I purchased it. I fell in love with it, but I had not had time to create with it. So today we're going to do just that. Now this stamp set also has a coordinating die set and I suggest that you go ahead and purchase this. It's going to make card making a little bit easier because you don't have to fussy cut anything out. And within the die set, it also has a couple more dies where you can cut out some additional little leaves and acorns. I'm going to pull this out the packaging and I'm going to show you the back. The back shows you how to do the triple step stamping. As you can see, there's little arrows to the top of each image and that creates the layers. So make sure that you get the die because it makes it so easy. Now the title of my video is how I saved a card from the trash. To be honest, I had not had my coffee yet and I was a little bit rambunctious to get into my stamp room and start stamping, and I didn't plan out everything in advance, so you're gonna kind of see me kind of save this card because I really thought I was gonna put it in the trash. All right, so I went ahead and kept the paper in which I die cut out my leaves, and that's going to give me like a little jig that I can just keep placing my leaves in to get my stamping correct. So this way I only have to line up the image one time and just keep inserting more leaves. So as you can see, I'm pointing to the packaging and I'm starting right at the top of that leaf, making sure that nothing is kind of outside of the barrier of the leaf. Again, this is super easy to line up. Again, grab that die. That is so important to grab that die. I do want to make sure that I can kind of keep my leaf in place. So I just put a little bit of tape runner down. I'm going to change that up a little bit later because it really was not working for me. As I have the first one lined up, I can go ahead and start the stamping. I'll make sure to put the colors below, but I think it was mustard, poppy, and clover maybe is the inks I use, but I'll make sure again to pop them in the description box below. So like I said, I started stamping and I didn't have my coffee yet. And I'm thinking, we're just gonna wing it. I'm gonna be okay, I can do this. But I like to pick everything in advance. And I like to sketch out my cards so I know kind of what I'm doing, how everything's gonna lay out. But today, didn't have my coffee, so I wasn't thinking straight. But I mustered through this and I got it done, and I'm so glad I did not give up. So as you can see, I stamped down that first set of leaves, and now I'm going to come back in and do the second one. At this point, I realized that that little bit of adhesive I put in that paper was not going to work for me. So I went ahead and grabbed my purple tape, and I'm going to just put some purple tape behind here in order to hold those dies in place. I'm going to change this again, you guys, because this didn't work for me. See what happens when I don't have my coffee? Next, I'm going to line up layer number 2. I don't think there's really a right or wrong way to layer this, like starting with layer 3 instead of layer 1, but I was just following the packaging. I know Jennifer McGuire has done this card as well, and I think she might have mentioned that it doesn't make a difference, but again, I think I'm just so used to following the instructions on the packaging, and again, I didn't have my coffee, so I need to make sure I save this design. So I'm going to hit stamp that second one, and I love these colors together. First, I love all Concord and Ninth colors. They're just so pretty. But I wanted to pick a red, a yellow, and a green for this. So now I'm just checking one more time to make sure that everything's lined up, and then I can stamp that down. Now, I did speed this up just a tad bit. I mean, it didn't take me very long to make the cards. So this is only sped up like maybe 2 times the speed. But you can definitely see how that is building up, how I'm getting those gorgeous colors. I did want to take back some of that tackiness of the tape, so I didn't want to have the chance of ripping my leaf. when I was stamping my final one. Next, I'm going to come in with that beautiful green color and that third layer. Again, I don't know if you can start with layer 3 or layer 2 or layer 1. Again, I just wanted to follow what the guide was. Excuse my big old head. I really needed to get over this to make sure I had everything lined up completely. Now, anytime you're making a card, right? You make it and you have a concept in your head of where you want this card to go. I kind of not overthink anything when I'm stamping, but I do want to know, okay, so these are the colors I'm going to use. This is the design I'm going to use. It's okay. It'll all come together. That kind of makes it a little bit easier when you go to stamp. You're not going to be frustrated. It's going to make card making a little bit easier for you. So now I have my leaves done and I'm quite happy with them. Now I'm going to work on my background. So within the stamp set, there's extra little bits of stamps. So I decided I wanted to make a printed background. I wanted to have some kind of design on the background and just not put my leaf onto a white background. Again, I'm thinking this is a great move to make. It's going to be so pretty. I like the availability of having those extra little stamps, so they can be like little filler pieces just like this, where you can create your own background. I do make sure to stamp off the paper as well, because if this was pattern paper that you purchased, the design would run off of the paper. So that's just a little tip for you. Anytime you're stamping a background with smaller stamps like this, make sure to run that design off the paper, because if you buy a paper pack, that's exactly how the design is. Next, I'm going to come in with another white piece of paper, but this time I wanted to pull in the colors that I had used when I was stamping my leaves. So again, I'm coming in with the same colors, keeping everything very cohesive, and I'm just layering up one stamp at a time this time, and I'm using all 3 colors. So I'll just, keep my stamping going, make a cute little design, which is perfect to use with stamp sets just like this, that you can create your own background. So I went ahead and carried that design all the way down to the bottom of the paper, just switching each color. So I had 2 rows of red, 2 rows of green, and 2 rows of yellow, actually 3 rows of red. Love the cute little backgrounds. All the colors are working for me. I'm like, this is going to be super cute, right? I'm going to have a really pretty fall card. I went ahead and picked out some coordinating paper because I didn't want to have the white on white this time. So at this point, I'm just trying to decide what color I want on, or what panel I want on what color. So I decided to do the yellow with the red and the green with the multicolored background. Again, pretty happy with this design. Still have not had any coffee yet. So once I start sticking down these panels, I'm starting to think, am I really going to like this? So I went ahead and stamped out sentiments, and then I'm like, okay, let's get this going. I wanted to add a little bit of height, so I made sure to die cut the leaf in white again, so I can kind of build this up and I can have some sturdiness to the leaves. So all I have to do at this point is just grab a wet adhesive and kind of stack these on top of each other. I do like using cardstock, especially for like bigger die cuts like this, because I can line everything up and I can have that thickness all the way through the die. So I'm not going to have like any sagging in this. Now the first paper I stamped on was 80 pound, and the one I'm putting on the back, that is 110 pound. So it's a little bit heavier and it's going to give me that sturdiness that I want. I don't know if you guys realized before, I forgot to stamp out the little leaf bottom, but that's just a little tiny individual piece by itself, and I just used an acrylic block to stamp in the leaf stem. That's what I want to call it, a leaf stem, not the leaf part. So we'll go ahead and flip this over. Again, I'm going to add a little bit of weight to this. Again, you can use foam tape if you want to, but I kind of like got in the habit, if I'm die cutting larger things, I might as well just die cut it again, and then I'll have what I need in the weight of what I want. So at this point, I'm thinking, what were you thinking, Dana? Look how busy that design is. I'm like, oh my God, I don't like this. I just don't like it. It's too busy. So I'm like, this is not going to work. Okay, now we have to save it. We have to save the card. We can't throw the card out. So at this point, I set everything aside and I go grab a cup of coffee because this right here was not going to work for me. So I walked away, got myself a cup of coffee, and I decided to come back and try this one more time. I cut out another little jig part. I cut out 2 more leaves. And this time, I'm going to change up the design. Within this stamp, there is a large solid leaf that has a sentiment on it. So this one right here. This stamp right here was my lifesaver of me not trashing this card. I was determined to save this card. So I went ahead and I lined up the design. And because this design is a solid design, it's really not going to compete now with the background. But I don't want to throw away those leaves either. So I'm going to show you what I did. All right, so I got that lined up and I'm going to come in back with that green ink. So the green ink is Parsley. Now I do have a little eraser here and I like to use this eraser, especially on bold or solid stamps like this. It kind of takes the residue off the stamp so I get a better impression. I'll link that below in the description box as well. It is a product by Altenew, and it's something that actually stays on the side of my desk now to kind of condition my stamps so I get a better first impression when I stamp down my images. I did notice I had like a little air bubble in there, but I went ahead and fixed that by just using my little pokey tool and pushing the stamp down onto the cling, and I was able to get a great impression. So I started off with the green one, and then I'm going to go ahead and move into my red. Now I absolutely love, love, love this poppy color. I absolutely love it. It's like, to me, like the perfect red. Not too dark, not too burgundy, and not too orangey. It's just a beautiful, beautiful color. So I made sure to press that down really hard, and now I have beautiful cards to start. Now again, I have that little piece at the bottom that I just need to use my acrylic block and stamp that on. Now I'm going to bring back in the card panels. And I'm like, yes, Dana, so much better. So much better. Love it. However, I can still use these, and I'm going to show you how. Because now I have a solid print in the front and I placed the busy leaf behind, it totally changed the feel of the card. Also giving it some height off of the card panel is also going to help the designs not clash with each other rather. So you see that looks so much better with having that solid image. I'm going to give it a little bit of height to take the design up and off of the paper. Now it doesn't look so busy, right? I'm able to save it that way. No, sir, not going to work. This way, yes, because I have a solid image that's kind of going to be the focal point first before you see the colorful tag or the colorful leaf in the background. This is a great way to, like I said, save a design that you've worked on. But also, if you need caffeine in the morning, I suggest you drink your coffee, tea, Mountain Dew, Dr. Pepper, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, whatever you need. Don't craft on an empty stomach, y'all, because it just does not seem to work for me. So lesson learned, I will always drink my coffee before I start my card making. I went ahead and I used some glue because I wanted those leaves to kind of overlap on each other. And I'm just making sure that the bottom of the leaves, the stem parts, are just kind of like doing a little crisscross. And look how better, so much better that that card looks. Again, I didn't have to waste what I had already started with that colorful leaf. Again, I could have put it on a separate card and just made a less busy background. But I really loved the color palette on this, and I did not want to not use that panel. So I am coming in with some strips of foam tape, and that's because, again, I want to really lift this design up off of that background so it doesn't get so busy. When you kind of give some air or some space between the design, it kind of works out a little bit better. So I can go ahead and flip that over. And now I can go ahead and place this on top. And look how much better that looks. Again, we still have that busy leaf, but because I have the solid leaf on top, it kind of softens that back a little bit and it keeps the design a little bit less busy. So I went ahead and did the same thing, glued this, and then I put some foam tape on the leaves, and then I can press them down. And I'm so glad I saved these cards. Absolutely love them. They're not too busy now. And lesson learned, I'm going to drink my coffee before I craft. All right, you guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me today. Make sure to give your cards some lift on the designs. And look how gorgeous you can make fall cards. I will see you guys in another video soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.